Steelers Nation, that is 10-3. That is the win back versus the Cleveland Browns, man, in dominating fashion, 27-14. Don't let the last touchdown to Njoku fool you. This was essentially a blowout victory by the Steelers. A very good blowout victory by the Steelers, or I feel like it was a blowout victory.
If you're not
Elijah.
with that,
Elijah Alexander with a 5. Shout out to Elijah.
Says, let's fucking go, Steelers. Which team do y'all want to beat more, Philly or the Chiefs? Well, the Chiefs, because they're the top dog.
Down with that, we've got 2 words for
Anthony.
AD with a 199 says, much love, brothers. Much love to you guys, and much love to this Steelers team for going into home in the Heinz Field, beating the Browns, going in with a different mentality, a different feel, and without George Pickens, and still putting up 27 offensive points. Good stuff by Russ. Good stuff by Warren. Muth got involved more. Scotty Miller made a couple good plays. Mike Williams finally saw targets. He made some plays down the sideline. You know, they were able to spread the ball around and still find success. They were without Pickens on short notice. And it took them a couple quarters. It took them a couple drives to warm up. They started 0-5 on third downs. It was very, conservative by the Steelers. They were playing safe. But what it appeared, in retrospect, is they were trying to find an identity. They were trying to find a pattern, a groove without George Pickens. They were trying to figure out how to work without Pickens. They lost that field stretcher. They lost that deep threat ability. So they were trying to figure out life without Pickens. It took them a couple quarters. It took them a little bit. And they really woke up in the third quarter specifically. But when they found that rhythm, when they found themselves, and huge thanks to the defense for allowing the offense to find a groove and start the momentum, because most of their scoring drives were in opposing territory. They started the drive in Cleveland territory. Most of that was because of a bad punt or mainly defensive turnovers or defensive plays or defensive stuffs. And the offense were able to take advantage. A Keanu Benton interception off a screen pass.
A big man interception, man. Big bully Ben, the triple B. Keanu Benton with his acrobatic ability to get up there and pick off Jameis Winston. And since that, the Browns just could not recover.
They could not, man. His first career interception, and that led to the first touchdown drive for the Steelers with Najee Harris. And then Russ just kept cooking, man. Russ, he didn't even throw 160 yards today, but he didn't have to because he still threw 2 touchdowns. One to Van Jefferson off of a incredible play design. It fooled the hell out of me. It was an RPO. It was like a fake to Warren. Then it looked like Russ was going to run it on a read option. Then he found Van Jefferson wide open. The entire Browns defense was fooled because they thought Russ was going to run it on a read option. Instead, he found Jefferson wide open for a touchdown. Then he hit Muth later in the game to just increase the score. It was just unbelievable. And all that happened in the third quarter, man. They really woke up as the game advanced. They found themselves. And they did what they had to do to get points on the board and win this game and win in very good fashion. So to the offense, without Pickens on short notice, it took them a bit to get going. But when they got going, they executed and they won us this football game. So shout out to the offense. And I'd say, man, Russ killed it today. He really threw to, I'll be real with you, he threw to mostly backups. Scotty Miller, he didn't come into the game with a lot of targets or a lot of receptions. He made plays. Shout out to Scotty. Mike Williams didn't see a single target since the Commanders game. He came down with a couple good catches. Van Jefferson got a touchdown. Calvin Austin, who's been impressive all year, only had 1 catch today. Pat Freiermuth got more looks. He got a couple big gains today. Shout out to Muth, always stepping up. They didn't have the most explosive offensive game, but it goes to show that Russ, no matter who the targets are, he's spreading the ball around and these guys are executing, and Russ is putting the ball in position for these guys to get the opportunities to make the most out of them. So to Russ, that's why he's the starter. That's why he's cooking right now. That's why he's leading this team to a very good record and a winning formula. So shout out to Russ. Shout out to Warren. He was the most explosive back for us today. I think he should have gotten more carries, but when he got the carries, Warren was just a dog, an absolute dog. Najee, 53 on the ground and a touchdown. He didn't find a ton of success after that second drive where he had 32 yards after that, and then he finished with just 53. But it just goes to show, like, guys, when they got the ball, when Warren got the ball, when Najee wasn't finding much, guys were just making plays all over the field. So shout out to the offense. Shout out to a lot of bodies, the strength in numbers from the offense, and just improving and getting going and winning us this football game.
I want to give a shout out to the offensive line again.
Absolutely.
The offensive line, they came up big once again. Because last time the Browns faced the Steelers in Cleveland, Myles Garrett had 3 sacks on us.
Who? Who's that?
Listen, the offensive line.
Was he even on the field?
The offensive line had no proper game plan of slowing down Myles Garrett. They learned from that. and they went into Cincinnati last week to slow down Trey Hendrickson. The man was a non-factor. They came into this game saying, we did that against Henderson. We got to keep it up again, but this time we're going up against Garrett again. We got to slow him down. Garrett ultimately got a garbage time sack. That doesn't fucking matter.
Garbage time.
It doesn't matter.
And you know what happened? You know what happened? He got a garbage time sack, right? You know what happened? Kadarius Toney muffed it and the Steelers recovered.
Yeah, so in the end, it doesn't matter. But throughout the entire game, the offensive line was just on their A game. The guys along the line, from left to right, the rookies as well, they have just been playing tremendous football. They're doing well in the pass protection. They're opening up lanes for Najee and Warren for the running game.
And what's most important is they're giving Russ time, they're minimizing pressures, and they're minimizing penalties. You know, some of these penalties aren't really drive killers anymore. They've minimized that. They're giving Russ time to cook and feed his weapons, and they're limiting the sacks on Russ. Only 3 sacks in the last 2 games allowed, I believe, for Russ. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, just week by week. I mean, the offensive line has just been getting a whole hell of a lot better, and I'm glad to see that.
Yeah, so shout out to McCormick. He stepped in tremendously since Daniels has went down. He's embodying that 66 Steelers legacy, I suppose.
Yeah.
And he's been stepping in great at right guard. Zach Frazier has had 0 issues since that bad snap versus the Colts. Broderick Jones, man, 3 straight games without a penalty, 3 straight games without a sack. Give him all the props in the world. He had a bumpy start. He had a rough start to the season. First half. He's been excellent the last 3
Broderick
games.
has been playing his best football in the past number of weeks. Big props to Broderick Jones.
He's
and
looking,
this is what me and Dan have been wanting to see from Broderick.
He's looking just like that first rounder from last year. Where last year he was the best tackle on both sides. And now he's really starting to inhabit that again. So I don't know what changed after that Browns game a couple weeks ago, but what they've done and how they've adjusted and how they've game planned against some of the more premier pass rushers in the division and the league, nonetheless, they've done well. So props to that, man. They've been a big reason for Russ's success and overall the offensive success. So shout out to everybody, man. That's great to see. The defense, on the other hand, had a much better game than last week. They still forced 3 total turnovers, if you include that Toney muff.
Yeah.
So that's 4 straight games where the Steelers team overall has forced 3 turnovers.
All against the AFC North.
We've got 2 words for
Billy
you.
Maher, great to have an offensive coordinator that can adjust in game. Yeah. Thank God. And you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that because I want to talk about the offense a little bit. You know, one thing that is so evident about this team, and I've noticed it every single game since the bye week, since the Commanders game, the defense, they force a turnover or they get the offense the ball back, whether it's in good field position or what. They force a turnover, and that changes the momentum. It really does. And the offense responds with a touchdown or they respond with a lead change in any way possible, whether that's a field goal or a touchdown. And each time, outside of the previous Browns loss, but each time they have gotten the lead back, and only once versus the Browns have they allowed the opposing team to get the lead back. Every time that the defense makes a play and the offense gets the ball and they get a lead change in any way, they don't allow the team to come back. That's how dominant the offense is consistent after the lead change, and that's how strong the defense is afterward as well. Props to that. That's been a big reason for our success. That's a constant pattern. We've seen it numerous times through this season, but especially every single game since the bye week versus the Commanders, versus the Ravens, versus the Browns, although the Browns came back, versus the Bengals, and today versus the Browns again. It's just unbelievable stuff.
Yeah.
That's what you want to see, and that's an awesome winning formula.
Yeah.
The more we do that, the more we keep it up, the better. But it all starts with the defense because they forced the turnovers. Again, 3 total turnovers forced, 2 of them by the defense, which was an interception by James Pierre and an interception by Keanu Benton. We had, 3 sacks today, 2 of them from Cameron Hayward, 1 from the returning Alex Highsmith, who his presence was everywhere. TJ Watt didn't have a sack today, but he was all over the backfield. He was all over and Jameis Winston and getting pressure. You know, multiple tackles for loss for Watt. Watt's presence was just felt today. You know, they couldn't contain Watt in many ways. So the front 7, they kept the pressure. I know it's a lot more blitz packages with Beanie, with Patrick Queen, with Alandon Roberts. More of that. That leads to a better defensive performance. That leads to a lot more success. And it led to a lot of the turnovers today. So more of that from the defense means a stronger performance. So,
yeah, a man that was all over the defense as well was Deshaun Elliott.
Yeah.
Elliott was everywhere. Wherever the ball carrier was, Elliott was right there. I mean, Elliott has been one hell of an addition, as we all know, but this game, I mean, he just really stood out in my opinion. Like, he was all over the Browns offense.
Absolutely.
He did well on coverage. We all know he's a fantastic run defender. Like, major props to Deshaun Elliott.
Yeah, Deshaun Elliott, man, he had himself an incredible game. Like, if you had to give me an MVP for the defense, probably Cam Hayward with 2 sacks, who now is 8 on the year at his age.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Just impressive.
Benton came down with a pick, which was awesome. Always good to see a big man interception, especially against a divisional rival. But Elliott, dude, he was blanketing tight ends. He was limiting anything towards the sideline. He was in the box, slowing down any ball carrier, whether that was Ford or Chubb. He did allow that touchdown to Njoku, but it was garbage time, so I'll give him a little leeway on that. But Elliott, he's been an awesome addition. He's been our best safety all season. So Elliott really stood out to me in this game. So I think that's awesome to say about Elliott, and it goes to show you the addition he's become. So
he just fits so well with this defense and just the style of play that the defense just plays like.
Yeah.
Like, he fits on like a glove.
He does.
Elliott is one hell of a player.
He really is, man. This defense overall had a much better performance, man, just limiting the Browns' offense. And they allowed a Judy touchdown early, and then they allow a single score until garbage time.
Yeah, that was a 35-yard touchdown. That was really the only, like, big gain they gave up. But since then, the defense just changed everything. They were like, we're not going to let this happen.
Yeah.
And Judy, man, like, he was coming into this game 5 straight games with over 70 receiving yards in each of those games, coming off a 235 receiving game against the Broncos on Monday night just last week, and a touchdown in that same game.
Right.
Judy only had 5 catches for 64 yards.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, they did a very good job of limiting Judy as well.
Especially after that touchdown, because he didn't get a single catch till the fourth quarter.
No, he didn't.
So this goes to show you, man, this team can make the right adjustments when they have to, and it's impressive because this team, I say it every week, I feel it every week, they're different. The way they just force the turnovers, the way they adjust in game, the way they improve throughout the game, and especially in the second half, the way the offense comes back from certain deficits, or the way that the offense takes advantage of the turnovers, or the way that the offense can get the lead back, and then the defense or no one allows the opponent to even get close back into the game, or allows the opposing team to get the lead back. It's awesome stuff.
Yeah, like, no matter, like, how the Steelers start off, if they start slow, if they make mistakes offensively and defensively, like, they learn from it. They learn from it. They get better as the game progresses. They showcase the resiliency that this team has that they did not have in previous years. It is very obvious with this team.
Absolutely. Now, go to show you, man, this team is just it's like that Browns loss was a wake-up call, and they went into this game thinking differently from 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and look at them. They've won 2 straight.
They've won 2 straight, and now we have to prepare for the Eagles, which is going to be definitely the toughest battle to date, the biggest test for the Steelers to date. So they got to take all this momentum and go into Lincoln Financial Field next week and hopefully maybe get a win. It's going to be tough. I'm hoping the Steelers at least keep it close. We'll see what happens. But let's enjoy this win. We beat the Browns. Shout out to the defense for playing as strong as they did. Shout out to the defense for forcing the turnovers and getting the sacks that they needed. Shout out to the offense for improving throughout the game and finding life without Pickens and spreading the ball around. Russ continues to cook. O-line stepping up. Warren's getting involved more. All good things right now. It's really good to be a Steelers fan right now. So let's enjoy this. We continue to sit atop of the AFC North with the Ravens on a bye. The Ravens are about 2.5 games behind us. So the more wins we get, the better. And if we somehow upset the Eagles next week, I mean, we have that over the Ravens. And that might even lead to a clinching possibility. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not 100% sure. But as the weeks go on, the more we win, the likelier we get into the playoffs as a clinching team for a playoff spot and, of course, a division.
Yep.
And that leads to just home field advantage and potentially a higher seeding depending on what happens throughout the conference. So we'll see what happens these next couple of weeks. But the fact the Steelers are getting wins again, they're back in the win column, they're finding some momentum, and they're finding themselves. They got Highsmith back. Next week they should have Pickens back. All good things for the Steelers, man. Really good stuff. So let's know your guys' thoughts in the comments below. How you guys feel about this win? The Browns, your season is officially over. We'll see you guys next year. And, yeah, we beat the Browns. Always a good time. Always a good day. Always a good Sunday, man.
Back at home, the 21st straight game, regular season-wise, that the Steelers have beaten the Browns in Pittsburgh, and they make sure that the Browns do not sweep the Steelers for the first time since 1988.
Yeah.
We've got 2 words for
Pittsburgh
you.
Steelers #1 fan with a 2 says, die, Eagles, die. Well, we haven't beat the Eagles in Philly since I couldn't tell you how long.
I think someone said the 50s in the comment section.
The 50s? Yeah.
Maybe. I have to do further research on that, but I mean, that's our goal next week. That's our goal. That's our mission. And that's for us to deal with next week.
Absolutely. But 10-3. 10-3.
Hell yeah, man.
That's awesome. That's great. 10-3, and let's just keep stacking wins. Let's take this momentum. Let's enjoy the win, and let's move onward and forward. Here we go, Steelers. At the end of the day, Browns. See you next year. Enjoy the couch, and Steelers. Let's go. Here we go, Steelers, man.
And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Peace.